Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
How many here took Latin in high school? Do you remember the first week? Agricola, agricolae. Amo, amas, amat. That's as far as I'm going to go. No, I took 6 years of Latin, and I remember the first week. The farmer is my friend, Agricola. My friend, Father Pat, on the other hand, has a real capacity for language which I don't have. I can't do it. Several years ago, he was going to go on a little tour of South America. And so he said, I think I'm going to go to Brazil. I think I'll learn Portuguese. And he did. Not only did he learn it, he went down there and he preached at a mass. 4 years of Greek we took in seminary. And he uses it to prepare his homily, the Greek New Testament. It's Greek to me. I know enough Italian to get by in a restaurant, and enough French to insult the waiter. That's it. You know, we learned, unless you had the unusual experience, we learned our languages in a classroom, you know, where they taught us vocabulary, where they taught us syntax, where they taught us construction, and for me, none of it stuck. Now they have a different way, it's called immersion. You go, missionaries have been doing this for years. They take a missionary to a place where he or she is going to serve, and they just like leave them there and learn that language. They have to if they want to survive. I have my cousin's grandson is off in Papua New Guinea for the next 10 years. And the first year, he's just living in a village with his wife and his 2 children learning a language. Or one time, Father Pat and I were in Ireland, and we went to the West, as they say. We went to the West. It was the summertime, and that's where they have the effort to revive Gaelic. And so there were high school kids living in this house, and from the time they got off the train, they couldn't speak any English. They just could speak Gaelic. And except they gave them a break when we were there for an hour. They could speak English to us, and then we left, and they had to go back to their immersion. I mention that today because we are celebrating the baptism of the Lord, and at the Jordan River, it probably wasn't like this beautiful little scene here with John the Baptist and Jesus, very choreographed, Jesus kneeling there very demurely, and John pouring a little bit of water like Deacon Paul's going to do. After this Mass, he has a baptism, and he'll be at the baptismal font, and the infant will come, and we have a beautiful shell, and we pour just a little water. An old nun taught me many decades ago, make sure it's warm. And that's the lid of the baptismal font, which is usually in storage. So we only have it out really once or twice a year, so you can see this. But that's probably not how it took place. It probably took place at a part of the river. You've seen Baptist ministers dunking people in, pulling them out, dunking them in, pulling them out. And that's probably how it took place. Remember your cousin, your older cousin, when you were trying to learn how to swim? And they held you under? You came up gasping for breath, thinking you were dying. That's probably what it was like, shedding your old life and breathing like the first breath you took when you came out of the womb. That kind of immersion in the water. I've only done that twice in 43 years of priesthood. It was over when we were still having Mass in the gym, and a couple wanted their baby baptized by immersion. They brought a big galvanized tub, and it was decorated with cloth and everything. I said, okay, I'll say the words, and you put the baby in and out. I don't like holding them when they're dry, let alone when they're wet. They scare me a lot, okay? So you hold them, I'll say the words, it'll be valid, okay? But that's immersion, and the Oriental churches, the Eastern churches, many of them still do that. We don't, and some Catholic churches you'll see baptismal pools. We don't have one here, but many newer churches have gone that way. That's immersion. That's another example of immersion, huh? And we are called today to be immersed, not in water, not in language, but in life. We're called to be immersed in the life of Jesus Christ. That's why Jesus Christ comes to us. You see, Jesus Christ didn't just come to make a visit. Jesus Christ came, and this baptism, when John says, no, you don't have to be baptized, he says, yes, I do, because I am going to live the fullness of the human experience. With all of its struggles, with all of its joys, with all of its tragedy, with all of its exhilaration, everything that's in human life is going to be mine, Jesus Christ says, because I am with you. I am with you. I'm not just here to observe. I'm not just here as a spectator. I'm here to be part of you. We're here to be one. You and me and I and you, that kind of unity. That's what Jesus is coming to share. There is a Greek word, well, it's Greek-based, but it's not an ancient word. It was created in the late 19th century in Germany. It's called empathy. Empathy. We're more familiar with sympathy. But empathy was created to give it a deeper meaning. It means literally to feel in something as opposed to feeling with something. So empathy implies an identity with a person who is suffering, a willingness to suffer along with them, whereas sympathy is more detached, a more detached feeling, more objective, more distance observation of the person. Sympathy says to the person, I'm sorry you're going through this. Empathy says to the person, we're in this together, and I'm going to be with you for the duration. And that's what Jesus has with us, empathy. Jesus comes to feel within us everything we're going through, not just to stand apart, not just to kind of float along the surface and say, okay, got another 2 more years and then I can get back home. No, to live every moment of his human life with us completely, so that we can't just say, well, how can he understand it? He can understand it because he's lived it from the inside out. And that's what we're called to do through baptism. We're called in baptism to live the life of Jesus Christ, the life that Jesus shares with us from the inside out, and to allow Jesus within us to touch the world. At Easter time, we always renew our baptismal promises, and we stand and we ask you questions based on the creed, and if you believe them and you say, I do, that's with your head. Huh? I do believe, hopefully with your heart. But today we're going to renew our baptismal call again. But like when we're ordained, we're asked questions by the bishop, and the response is, I am. So he asks you if you're willing to preach the word, I am. Are you